In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the network view, which is a key component of Houdini's procedural node-based workflow. To start, let's go and take an object like this, a grid, press enter to place it at the origin. So here we have it in our 3D view, this object we've created, and similarly over in this network view we also have a grid object node. Now we can use the right mouse button to zoom in and the middle mouse button to pan to organize how we look at our node in this view. And we can also do some other things here at the object level. For instance, we can set the display of the object, turn it on or turn it off. We can also go in and make it selectable or not, which means I can go in with the select tool and I can't grab that anymore. So sometimes you want to protect certain objects from being manipulated in the scene view. You can do that with this parameter. If we turn that back on, now you can turn that on using either this flag to go on and off or this widget up here. This is actually more useful when you go to this level and I want to turn that off or turn that on. That would be hard to do with the flag, so that little radial widget helps you. So let's select that object and let's go to the Deform tab and let's put a mountain on this. Now you'll see that now there's a second node in the network editor. I can go in and play with the parameters if I want, create a little more subtle effect there. And let's press N to select everything. And we'll go to the Polygon tab and go Poly Extrude. We'll poly extrude that out, do it by individual elements, and we'll now inset those to get these sort of spikes. So now that we have that, we have a shape that's been created using these three nodes, and let's go and make that bigger so that we can explore these nodes a little bit. Each of these nodes is contributing to the final result. So for instance, if I select the grid here and I get the handle tool, you'll see that I can manipulate the original grid and that will have an effect on everything that follows. Similarly, I can click on the mountain tool or the poly extrude and all of those work. I can even go so far as to individually display them. So I can say, well, let me see the grid or let me see the mountain or see the final one. So I have that ability while I'm working. Now if I was to pick, let's say, the grid and say that's my display, and I go up to the top level, that is what the object now looks like. And as a matter of fact, that's what it will render as. So it is important for you to know where your flags are in that regard. If we double click in, we can then set our display here. The relationship between these pieces is non-destructive. And what that means is that I can go in, shake this node, and that will disconnect it. And what happens is now we've got the grid wired into the poly extrude and the mountain isn't even part of the picture anymore. I could theoretically wire the poly extrude into there and see what that looks like. Don't really like that result. So what I'll do is I'll press the Y key and I can cut that, move that back up and insert that back in. And now if I set my display node there, everything's back to normal. So there's a whole bunch of ways of wiring, connecting, disconnecting, and because of the non-destructive nature of the node network, you can get a lot done by playing with those options. To take this one step further, let's take these two nodes here, press the Alt key, and we'll make a copy over here. Now, the reason we might do that is because we want to explore two different options. This version of the poly extrude, if we get the handle tool, we want to make much shorter. So now we have a tall one and we have a short one, and we have those two different options. Now, if we want to, we can actually put in a switch node. And a switch node would actually allow me to wire these two into here, set the display flag here, and now if I press P, you'll see that I have an input where I can actually say which of those do I want. And so that's very useful in case you want to explore a couple ideas and you don't know exactly which one you want to send to the object level, or you could animate that parameter so that it shows one part for part of a scene and then another part for a different. So a bunch of different options there. In terms of organizational capabilities here in the network editor, we have a number of tools at our disposal. For instance, we can take these and we can go layout align vertically, and then that would align them. We can also go distribute vertically, if we want to distribute those nicely. We can also, if we had them messed up a little bit like this, we could take this, press the A key, and if we just drag down like this, we drag like that, you can organize them horizontally or vertically quickly like that. We also have some other tools for organizing how things look in your scene in your network editor. For instance, I can grab these two, and if I press C, I can add some color to them. I can also add some color to these nodes. That will help me if I zoom out and I want to see which node's which. The colors can be quite helpful. We also have shapes. So for instance, I can select these two, maybe add a wiggle to those, more like the mountain. Take these two like this, maybe make that feel like more like an input, and make that like this. So you can have a whole bunch of different shapes that, again, make it easier to read from a distance which node is which as you work with and manipulate your network. So those are some of the features available in the network editor. As you begin to work with it more, these tools will become an essential part of your day-to-day workflow.